Hey everyone, how's it going? We're gonna start it in about 2 minutes, so I'm gonna wait for anybody else to come on, and we'll get started in 2 minutes. All right, thank you. Can uh, can anyone hear me well? I'm just double checking is my sound good today, on YouTube and on TradingView. Can you guys just give me a yes if the sound is okay? So, hope everyone is well. Well, let's get started with the market update today. Good. Sound is good. Thank you very much. Yes. Can anyone on TradingView just do me a favor and tell me the sound is good as well? That would be greatly appreciated, and then we can get started. Everyone here on YouTube says it's good, so I hope it's okay on TradingView as well if you're watching me on TradingView. We're gonna get started now. So 14 o'clock GMT. Now, I think there is some news that's coming up, right? So just be careful with some FOMC news that is coming up in a few hours. I think about 4 hours or so, if I'm not mistaken. Personally, I'm going to hold on to the trades. I don't think anything wrong with that. But if you're in any dollar or maybe any other yen or whatever pairs that you're currently in, maybe it's best to be a little bit more cautious during this time. I think there's some bigger news in these FOMC today. Usually this is like rate announcement, things like that. Wednesday, that's pretty typical every month that happens. But someone was telling me that there was more to it today. So I guess just be careful with around, I think it's 18 o'clock GMT. 19, yeah, 18 o'clock GMT is when these are happening. So just be careful about the news event because they might affect the market greatly. Okay. Okay. So what's going to happen here? Let's take a look at a few of the current position I'm running. As you guys know, I closed down the yen pairs, right? I update everyone. I closed down the yen pairs from last night. Update everyone here. So I closed down the 3 yen position and Nasdaq. So took profit here and then kind of move on. Right? I mentioned about follow your plan if you want to hold on to the trades, right? For me, most of these are 3 to 1, so I'm happy to take profit there and then kind of move on and see what else. If they develop further, and I can re-enter back in. No other trades here. These are just entry positions that didn't get triggered. But I'm currently live in 2 positions right now, as you can see. So I'm in Pound Kiwi and I am in Euro Aussie. Okay, so let's go over these 2 positions quickly, and then we're gonna get with the outlook. Okay, so Pound Kiwi here. I'm gonna talk about Pound Kiwi and. So I'm going to start with the higher time frame here, okay? So starting from the higher time frame. Now, if we look at what the price is doing right now, you can see that just from looking at the latest kind of price action in this kind of zone here, or in this area, sorry, I didn't mean zone, I meant area, that we can see that after this really strong impulsive move to the downside, we have this pretty clear kind of parallel channel in the making. It's basically correcting the price, and then we have another impulsive move breaking out of that parallel channel. So that's all very good price action, right? And then you notice we basically form another smaller kind of channel here after this impulsive phase to the downside. And there's a lot of similarity to what's going on here as well, right? We have the same kind of channel formation here. We know that is a corrective structure. And there was also a lower time frame correction here that pushed down the price basically to this low here. So I'm looking at this current price action. We're basically doing the exact same thing. Right, we have this same parallel channel, and then we push out of that channel here. And it looks like there is a correction here that is in the making. So I think it's good to look for a sell here, at least to the low here. I think that's very good risk reward that if we can capture this sell. So that's on the higher time frame. And if we go to the lower time frame here, lower time frame, that same kind of a parallel channel structure after we had that impulse and move to the downside. And then we basically had a kind of lower time frame double top here, right? You can see lower time frame double top, and then price basically impulse down, and basically there was a continuation correction. Sorry, my voice is a little bit static. So in terms of entry, this is probably a little bit more advanced, I would say. I usually would probably wait for a price to break down here and then continuation afterwards. I think that's perfectly fine to enter something like this, which is a correction after breakout, right? One of the entry I talk about. Now, this is a little bit more advanced. I would say this is more as a kind of a reversal entry because price is still in that larger correction, so anything can happen, right? Price can easily just continue push to the upside. But what I found about here is I like how there is kind of ascending structure. We push down the price, and then there is a kind of a bigger structure here, and then we have a smaller kind of ascending structure pushing out. So to me, what we basically potentially completing the structure because we know there's few swing highs, few swing lows. We had an impulse down, we had a correction here, and then a mini correction here, and then push down the price. And that's kind of how I set the entry order here. As you can see, set the entry order, set the stop loss above the high. Not sure whether there is some Aussie or Kiwi news or maybe some yen news, but this happens across the all the yen, dollar, and all the pair. I don't know if there are some news events or whatever the case may be, but that's how I got triggered here. Push down here, look like a little bit of correction, and continue pushing down. Now you can see here my stop loss is already at break even, so I already moved the stop loss to break even. So I'm just kind of chilling here to see what the price will do. If this is going to continue push up, that's fine. I'll just take a break even, right? I'm fine with that. It's only running about 1-to-1 or so anyway, so I'm fine just taking a break even. I don't want to choke the price. I want to give the price to correct if that's going to happen. And ultimately, because the higher time frame bias for me is still downside, right? So the higher time frame bias to me is downside. So I'm fine entering here. I'm already at break even, so I no need to worry. I'll let the price, give the price room to correct if that's going to do, and then take it from there. Alright, so it's running about 1-to-1 right now, I think. Again, my stop loss is at break even, so I'm perfectly fine with one. Let's take a look at Euro Aussie here. So is the sound bad, guys? Can I just get a confirm from everyone? Someone mentioned sound is bad, but everyone's saying is yes. Can I just kind of confirm with you guys that sound is okay, or is sound can be better? Good sound on TradingView. Is YouTube, can anyone give me a yes on that as well? My voice is echo. So looks like some people voice is okay and some people is better. It's okay, it's okay. TradingView is good, right? I just want to make sure. TradingView is okay. It's echoey, but I still pick up the word. No, I want to make sure it's good, guys. So on YouTube, because yesterday was much better, right? I mean, on Wednesday was much better. So I'm trying to figure out here what is causing the echo sound. Um, I just don't want, yeah, okay sound, okay, because I just don't want it to be back 2 weeks ago when the sound is kind of echoing or static. I I am using a third party streaming device, right? It's called this thing, right? OBS thing. So I hope this is helping the sound and all that as well. So but please let me know if the sound gets worse or whatever the case, because I want to make sure the quality is good. Anyways, let's continue here on Euro Aussie, right? Euro Aussie here on the higher time frame. To me, it's forming a better structure than previously when this move coming down. I remember when this move coming down, a bunch of you guys were looking for sell, and I think it's okay, heading a double top. But what's better now is the double top, and we evolve into a head and shoulder pattern now, right? So this is a bigger, higher time frame head and shoulder with a double top. So to me, this is a good confluence to possibly look for a sell here. And on the lower time frame here, you basically had a lower time frame double top, right? And you have this ascending kind of structure. Usually we're gonna see ascending channel at the top of the correction as a reversal, but in this case, it's still a corrective price action moving up, but it basically becomes a continuation for this down move here. And if we look at closely here, it becomes the right shoulder of this potential head and shoulder pattern as well. Okay, so understand what corrections are, right? Correction can only be continuous or reversals, but in this case, even though we know ascending channels are reversal in nature, but it is still reversing the price within the correction, but it is still a down move continuation for this price here. Okay, so what I see here is looking for a potential sell. Now I talk about probably the better way to capture is for people who a little bit less risk tolerance is waiting for price to impulse out, right, and waiting for a correction to continue. Now I personally got in on this reversal order, right? The reversal order is another entry that I talk about. A little bit risky once again, but it's up to your preference. So reversal here, once a bullish push up to the price, there was a correction here, but this correction here can easily continue higher. That's why I set the entry order a little bit lower than the previous price. And price had that impulsive move to the downside, but it looks like it's just forming another correction here. My stop loss is still at -1, as you can see here. So I'm going to just let the trade run. I'm happy to take a loss here, to be honest. I like where the price is. I like the potential risk reward. For me to enter a reversal here, I could potentially get about 5.6 to 1 or something. So I'm happy to enter such position. And even if the price does push up here, take me out. But I think as long as we're still in this kind of ascending structure, right? As long as the price is still in here and is still correcting, then even a move up here, I could still looking for the sell down to here again. All right, so that's my plan on Euro Aussie. Like you can see, I'm still just running -1 or my stop loss is at -1, right? -1%. Whereas my pound Kiwi position is running 1% right now, and my stop loss is at break even. Okay. Any question here? If not, we can get started with the outlook today. Sound is okay. Fix the echo. Yeah, I can't watch this YouTube right now, by the way, so I can only watch it after, my friend. But I can get to it maybe later. But I appreciate that, Pit. I hope that's your name. I saw you send me this. I'll take a look after. I appreciate that. Thank you. YouTube, perfect. All right, thank you very much, guys. So let's continue here. Okay. So you can see here, I don't have too much on the watch on the right. Okay. On the right here, whatever is flag is the ones that I'm looking at for today or at this remaining of the week. You can see that in my Telegram, I did update kind of the pairs that I'm looking at for today and the remaining of the week. I mentioned about the yen pairs. I'll be a little bit more cautious on them, right? Did exit them yesterday or 2 days ago, right? I'm just happy to take profit here and then just kind of wait for a little bit more development on them before I could possibly get back in. Now, in terms of, there's a few Aussie and Kiwi pairs that I would go over, and I'll go over all the yen pairs as well, and then kind of take a look at them and see what it is. I don't have much dollar pairs on watch. I don't really have any dollar pair on watch. Again, because I think there is the news event coming up. Usually, if I had position open, I would just adjust my stop loss and I would let the trade run. But because I don't have any dollar pair running, then I'm happy to just not enter any of the dollar pairs and just wait for maybe after the news and things like that. All right. So Euro Yen, I will take a look for sure. Let's get started. Why don't we go through kind of the few pairs that I'm looking at, and then if you have any pairs that you want me to take over, let me know, and please put long or short or buy or sell, whatever direction you're looking at, so we can take a look at it together. But I'll go over the ones that I have flagged first, whatever that's on my watch, and then we will go over anything that you want to take a look at. And like I said, make sure to put long or short beside the pair so I can know what direction you're looking at. So other than the two pairs that I just went over that's live, let's go over a few other ones. Like I was also looking at Aussie Swiss. I end up choosing Euro Aussie over Aussie Swiss, but I think it's the same idea here. Now, we know that from the higher time frame here on Aussie Swiss, price has basically already, let's say from all the way down here, this is after coronavirus, right? After the coronavirus crash, we had a impulsive move to the upside, right? After the impulsive move, what happens? We fall into a kind of a continuation price action here, right? This is a continuation price action. And we see price did impulsively pushing up to the upside. So this is another sign from the market that we have basically another impulsive move to the upside, right? So another impulsive move to the upside, what happens naturally? Well, price needs to correct again, right? So price correct again, so we see this kind of a channel-like structure, and then we push down here, but basically forming into a more of an expanding structure. And I also see a inverse head and shoulder as well. So if you look at the higher time frame, after COVID, impulse up, correction, impulse up, correction, and now we have basically like a inverse head and shoulder. We know that inverse head and shoulder are reversal in nature, and if we can continue the price here, this could be a turning point after all this price of a consolidation. It basically correct this move already, so another upside here is possible and probable. So that's kind of how I see on Aussie Swiss. Again, like talk about that, I got in on Euro Aussie. So Aussie Swiss, Euro Aussie, they're basically the same thing, right? So I choose Euro Aussie instead. But I think it's the same, a very similar price action. I like how we basically had that inverse head and shoulder. We had an impulsive move breaking out of this expanding structure. And we basically have like a flag kind of structure, right? We know that this is an impulse. This likely can be a correction. And another upside here, even just to the high here, is very, very probable. It depends on what the lower time frame will do at this point. I was looking at the same kind of buy move here during the Asia session today. But I ultimately got in on Euro Aussie instead. I thought Euro Aussie had a just better price action here. Now, I do think if they're going to move, if the Aussie is going to gain strength, then they're all going to move together, right? But I do agree maybe there's something going on here. If that fits your plan to enter, I think this was fine as well. We're at the bottom of the structure, right? So just understand that every time we're at the bottom of a corrective price action, there is better probability of moving up to the top. Whether or not this breaks up and then continue, it's not something we can predict, but when we're at the bottom here, you notice that it always pushes to the upside because it follows what price action does when it's in a consolidation correction. But every time when we hit the low here, now we're forming basically more swing highs and more swing low. So this is better every time when the price does hit the bottom, because you know that the more swing highs and low that you get, the better probability of completion of this correction. Okay, so you have the higher time frame bias, you have the lower time frame bias, basically looking for a possible buy. I think that is reasonable here. So that is Aussie Swiss long. Okay. Now I did see someone else say Aussie Swiss long as well. Yep, dollars are, take a look at that after, sure. I'm just gonna go over quickly what I'm looking at, what I think is best, and then I'll go over every pairs that you guys are talking about. Aussie Kiwi. Aussie Kiwi is another pair that we've been talking about for quite a bit of time, right? We've been kind of still looking at possible buy here. It's still just consolidating here quite a bit. Now, maybe some of you guys got in an entry already. Good job. I was still kind of looking at this. I didn't really find an entry that fits me personally, but if you got an entry in, good job. It's just kind of still moving sideways. That's why it's a little bit hesitate on this, but I think nothing changes from a higher time frame perspective, right? We're in this higher time frame descending structure. We have a lower time frame descending channel as well, so a lot of confluence here. We know that we just broke this previous low as well, so possible reversal from this point. Now, it's all depending on how this move will continue. Whether or not we get an entry here, or we get an impulse late break, we can potentially look for an entry here. I think it's the same, right? Entering here probably give you a better, it's safer, right? Because it's less risk. While if we're trading well in this correction here, price can easily move up and then move down a few times, right? Before we continue upwards. So it's up to you and your plan. I think breaking up followed by a correction here is ideal, and then looking for a target probably somewhere here, right? But depends on what's going to happen here. I couldn't find a potential entry. Like I was looking at maybe this, or maybe at the time I was looking at this as well. I thought there was an entry here when the price push up, and then if this is an entry that I would take, I would set the entry order, right? So never got triggered here. Now I just kind of pushed down here. So it's a little bit sideways consolidation, which is a little bit, to me, a little bit more I'm going to be a little bit more cautious on this area, right? Because this is likely because Aussie and Kiwi are all gaining strength, and it's a little bit hard for this price to push up. But the more consolidated I have, the better it is that we know that this is clearly a corrective structure, and eventually that when the corrective structure finish, we likely to see the impulsive break, right? So that's Aussie Kiwi, what I see at least for a long perspective. Kiwi Swiss, someone mentioned Kiwi Swiss was kind of on my watch list as well. I didn't put the flag here, but I'm gonna have to say I'm more favoring Kiwi Swiss as a long rather than a sell. I understand sell. I do see what one of you guys are saying. Sell, yeah, I do agree, right? Because this could be a reversal down. If this forms into a bearish correction, then I agree that this can be a sell, because this is an impulse up. This is a reversal structure. We had an impulse down. If it's followed by a bearish continuation, then this can push down. I agree with that. But when I look at the higher time frame price action, when I look at how the price has been, right? COVID impulse down, reversal impulse, correction, impulse up. This is another kind of a channel or flag correction, and we basically break out of this descending structure as well. So to me, the higher time frame looks a little bit more bullish. I do agree lower time frame could be bearish if it forms something like this. So it's a little bit conflicting, as I would say. I think when I see these conflicting kind of price action, I usually be on the sideline. I usually will stay on the sideline because I don't really want to enter something that has conflicting bias. I think Aussie Swiss looks slightly better in terms of the lower time frame, and Kiwi Swiss here on the lower time frame, it did drop down from this correction, but it only confirms the bearish side if it forms a correction here, right? This can easily just consolidate here and then push up and then continue upwards. That's a possibility as well. So that's what I see on Kiwi Swiss currently. I would think Aussie Swiss is slightly better when it comes to a potential bullish opportunity or bullish bias, whereas Kiwi Swiss, like I said, the lower time frame is a little bit that could be a bearish kind of price action, so I'm a little bit more cautious. So I won't be looking for Kiwi Swiss buy or sell, but my bias here on a higher time frame is looking for a buy here. All right. So we went over Aussie Swiss, Kiwi Swiss, Aussie Kiwi. Euro Kiwi is another one I want to go over. I did put that in my watch list as well. So I still I still like what I see on Euro Kiwi, even though this area took quite a bit of time. I think it took like basically 2 weeks plus to consolidate here. But I think the overall bias here is the same, right? From all the way up top here, we did have the impulsive break to the downside. And this to me is just a higher time frame kind of a flag or channel, but continuation to meet. So looks like this continuation correction is complete because we had that impulse breakdown once again from the top. Now it basically depends on what the price will do in this correction. If we dig a little bit deeper into the lower time frame, we see the ascending structure. We pushed down originally, but no correction to continue. It reversed back up, but basically forming that same kind of correction that we see on like Euro Aussie, for example, right? We see the same Euro Aussie kind of correction here. I think Euro Kiwi is basically doing the same thing. It's just that whether or not we see this as another correction after this push down, and if this can continue, and I do agree this can be the start of this correction to continue downside. So that's Euro Kiwi. I think it's pretty similar like Euro. So basically Euro Aussie, Euro Kiwi, Pound Kiwi, Aussie Swiss, Kiwi Swiss. They're all very, very similar, right? So as I always say, from a risk point of view, just pick one or two, right? I have two positions running. One of them is already at break even, so I'm pretty much risk free when it comes to one of the trade is risk free, and I'm fine just having one trade open that could potentially take me out. So those are the ones that I really want to focus on. Now I'm gonna take a look at what you guys are saying. What you guys are saying in terms of the one that you're looking at. So I'll go over one by one. Euro Kiwi, we talk about that. Yeah. Now, Pound Swiss, yes. A bunch of you guys caught Pound Swiss sell, right? So very good job on your part. Again, follow your plan, right? I love how you guys very clean to follow your plan to basically looking for the own trade on your own, right? Looking for your own perspective, right? Because I personally didn't get in on this, right? But a lot of you guys got in, so very good job, right? Because this is what trading is all about, guys. I always try to encourage everyone to have your own plan and have your own analysis, because simply follow me or follow any other trader is not going to help you in the long run, right? Because I missed this trade, I didn't capture this trade, but you did, right? So if you're gonna always follow me, then I'm gonna miss entries a lot as well, right? It's just normal, right? You can't capture every single move in the market, right? So always have your own plan, because this is what I encourage everyone. This is why I created all my channels and groups and stuff like that, so everyone can interact and share analysis. Now what I see here on Pound Swiss here is that we have that double top here, right? A lot of you guys identified that. We have that same ascending structure. We know that is a reversal. And basically there is a little bit more reversal correction here at the top. I think this is more like a wedge. And then we have that first impulse break to the downside, first continuation correction. Again, this is correction after breakout, right? Always the same. This entries happens a lot, right? I talk about this every time, every video, correction after breakout. So the more backtests we do, the more you're going to identify this over and over again in the market. Now prices continue pushing down. I think there's another correction here. I'm not sure how you guys handle this, but this could be an entry or it could be a scaling entry depending on how your risks or your management are. Now we can certainly expect price to basically continue to impulse and then correct and then push down and then impulse and correct. I think that's very, very likely that the price will reach to this bottom here. And basically you do have a little bit more room, but I think when you reach this bottom, you just have to be a little bit more careful to see what the price will do. Is it going to break continue and then we continue the downtrend? Then that's good. But if it's going to reverse up here, then you need to be careful, because price can easily hit this bottom here and then start having another reversal up to the top again. Right? This can be a new structure that the price is creating. Okay, so that's what I see on Pound Swiss. If you're in the trade, I certainly think holding it to the low here is fine. But if you're not in the trade yet, I don't think there's any entry here. I thought this would could potentially be another entry, but if you didn't get in on this, then I don't see any entry at the current moment. Okay, so that's pound Swiss. A couple other one. What I'm seeing here is let's go over the yen pairs. It seems like there's a lot of question on the yen pairs. I'm happy to go over the yen pairs as well. One question is, what do I see pound yen would be sideline? I think what I mean by sideline is just means I want to see bigger consolidation. Okay, so when I exit the trades, because I see bullish price action on them, and usually when that happens, I want to wait for bigger consolidation or bigger development. Okay, so when I update everyone the pairs I watch, I'll be on the sideline, meaning just I want to watch for more development. It's not that I don't think the sell is good or the sell is bad. I just think that if you're still holding the sell, that's perfectly fine. Remember, we talked about this, right? In my group discussion, I said it's fine totally if you're holding the sell, right? If that's totally fine. It means that when I saw this price pushing up, when I saw this correction couldn't push price to lower, I just exit the trade, right? I exit the trade for profit, but that doesn't mean that I don't have a bias of a continuation, right? All I'm saying is after this larger structure has completed, chances are after this impulse has already happened, we likely to get another bigger consolidation, something like in this kind of scale where this hasn't looked like it's going to, right? So another move up, push up, or something like this can easily create another structure, and we can potentially look for another sell, right? But it's just not ready yet. It doesn't look like it's forming into any price action structures that we're familiar with, right? We want to see something like this where there is a few swing highs and a few swing lows, that we know that that's likely to be a continuation. Whereas right now there's not too much here, right? We would preferably, if price here develop and push to the upside here and then reverse back down, then something like this is similar, something like this is similar, right? But we know how the structure works, right? There's not a swing high here. I wouldn't even consider this as a swing high. I would want to see price to push up one more time, right? Push up to the top here and potentially forming something like this, and then reverse back down, right? And then basically that will continue the bearish kind of trend, right? So that's what I see on pound yen and pretty much most of the yen pairs, because I'm just kind of waiting for a bigger consolidation to happen and then potentially look for a sell. And because we hit this low as well, and we're very close to this low, so there's always a chance that the price may not continue down right away, it may not break this low and then continue. It might all the way reverse back up, and all we know from a price point of view is we're just creating bigger structure, right? So we hit the low here, we reverse back up, and we're just hitting a few swing highs and a few swing lows once more, and then reversal price action from the top. So always understand, while we think this is all the correction it needs, while we all agree that there is a head and shoulder pattern, but doesn't necessarily mean this is all the correction we need for the price to push down. Always understand the probability of and what's likely to happen and what's not likely to happen. Basically, you need to understand that price can continue to evolve, right? So what if it evolves into a bigger structure and this just moves up to the top, and then basically still the price will push down from the top afterwards. So that's why I exit the trade. There's nothing wrong with holding the trade, right? That's kind of what I always been talking about. If you're holding the trade, perfectly fine. That follows your plan, right? And price can easily push down from here as well. And I would have missed out all the profit if it doesn't. But I would also, if I exit the trade and price push up, and people who hold the trade will lose the profit as well. So there's no right and wrong, right? That's just kind of what I'm trying to say, is there's no right and wrong how I manage and how you manage. It's just how each people's trading plan and perspective, okay? So that's pound yen. I'm going to go over a few more yen pairs quickly, but I do see what you guys are saying. I will go over dollar ZAR. I'll go over that. I will go over oil. I'll go over gold. I'm going to go over gold after, but let me finish the Forex first, guys, if you don't mind. Just a few more pairs to go over, but I will finish the Forex pair first, and I'll go over gold, okay? I appreciate you guys. Kiwi Swiss, Kiwi, pound Swiss, gold I will go over. So I finished the yen pairs first. Now euro yen. Someone asked about euro yen. Now again, I got out the euro yen position, right? And then basically what I don't really like what I'm seeing here is price basically had a push down we had a kind of a descending structure and prices pushing up. Now this can easily become another ascending channel and then push down. That's possible. Or there's a possibility that we might form into a bullish correction and then push up and basically creating a inverse head and shoulder here. Again, it's why I mentioned about being on the sideline of the price is because after such move has already happened, right? This is quite a bit of run, right? If we talk about all the way from the top here, all the way from the bottom, it's quite a bit, right? 270 pips or so, right? So that's quite a bit wrong in my opinion. Just naturally price is likely to consolidate into a bigger correction and then potentially move down again. It's just that I don't think it's going to move down in a straight line, right? Just from experience and from back testing. If price is going to move, like this is still a down move here, but you notice that price has to pull back, correct, and then push down again, and then pull back here and then push down, right? So it's never going to be in a straight line dropping, right? And that's kind of what I always try to tell everyone is that when you're in the trade, if you're holding it for long term, just understand there's a lot of lower time frame pullback, lower time frame correction that may eat your profit back, or maybe it will reverse back and eat up more of your profit. So always understand the management side of things, right? If you exit a trade for profit, then exit a trade for profit. Don't need to think about what the price will do afterwards. You can monitor the price and then you can potentially get back in if the right price action develop. But if it doesn't, then just be on the sideline, right? You already exited the trade, so it doesn't matter to think about what you could have done or whatever. But I talk about in the yen videos I mentioned about, I still obviously see yen pairs from the higher time frame could be bearish price action, right? But it's just that, see here, basically price is hitting a potential bottom. Are we going to start dropping down here, or are we going to consolidate here a little bit longer before the next downside? Okay, so that's kind of what I'm seeing here on most of the yen pairs, and they're basically the same, right? We're hitting this bottom here, and then price kind of had a reversal up move here, right? So I'm just on the sideline for these until we see bigger notice. I'm neither in the buy or in the sell. I'm just kind of more neutral on these type of positions. Same thing with a couple other yen pairs, right? CAD yen, I got out of position here. Basically, to me, this isn't really forming too much. Like you could probably draw in something like this, but again, price needs to push up here and then needs to reverse up from the bottom here to confirm that a bigger structure is in the making. Right? We didn't really hit the low. This push down from the price really didn't hit the low, right? We talk about this from the recap videos, right? We talk about that. I personally got out of the trade, but it didn't really hit the low here, right? It's likely that if we didn't hit the low, can we create another correction here to push down to the low or even break the low and then continue downwards? It's just that after a sharp move like this, as we see here, after a sharp move, we tend to fall into a correction. After a sharp move, another correction. So likely after this sharp move, we can fall into another correction here. Okay. That's about it. Really all the yen pairs I want to talk about. Swiss yen is also another trade I got out, right? Swiss yen originally pushed down to the low here. It just didn't really continue as what I wanted to see, right? It pushed down here. I was more looking to see we're going to get a continuation here, but it really did not form, right? So we just have to acknowledge what's happening here. Price pushed down here. We start forming bullish reversal, right? This is a descending channel. We have the first impulse up, followed by another bullish correction. So I just set my stop loss above the high here. Gets tagged out and then looks like it's like continue pushing up and just more bullish price action here in the making, right? And that's why I am very on the sideline here. Now if you see that this is quite a sharp reversal, so if it's followed by continuation correction here, this likely to continue higher, right? So there's really no point of me holding a trade, especially the trade has already retraced much more already, right? So this just comes from experience, because what I find a lot of traders is they could capture trades like these, but they fail to exit the trade, and then they're basically giving back a bunch of profit back to the market, and that creates quite an emotion and stress, right, in people's mind. It's like, well, the trade that was running 4 or 5%, they end up hitting like 2% or 1%, and they're very, very frustrated that they didn't exit the trade, right? So, work on that aspect, right? Work on your management. When a trade hits about 3 to 1, right? Usually that's when you want to look at how far is the trade going to continue. Is it giving you continuation price action, or is it slowly giving you reversal price action? Then you have to acknowledge that and then learn to adjust and work on that management side of things. Alright, so those are the few yen pairs I really want to go over. Now let's take a look at what else you guys are talking about. So I mentioned about Kiwi Cat sell. Yeah, Kiwi Cat sell possible. We talked about this kind of in the previous recap videos, right? So, not previous market outlook, sorry. So from the top here, right, these are the trades that I remember we all got in from the top. Price pushed down massively, right? This is one sign from the market that we likely to see continuation. So after this price push down, we see this larger continuation price action in the making. And originally I was looking at this to see, well, if this push down here, is it going to give us a continuation price action to continue? It really didn't do that, right? It didn't really give us that continuation. Instead, it pushed down to kind of push higher. Now, I do agree that there's something happening here on the lower time frame, right? This looks like a correction finally, right? I didn't really see this as a bearish correction to go lower, but this certainly is, right? We have a push up, we have a reversal impulse. This likely could be a continuation price action. Now, it depends on how you want to take these, right? Normally, we'll take entry something like this, right? If that fits your plan, right? Something like this, and you're looking for the low down to here. But personally, from my perspective at least, I really don't like what's happening here. I would have preferred if this ascending channel push up and sharp reversal, sharp correction to go. That's something that would fit my plan to enter. I just don't like the consolidation here a little bit more. Like this can push down here. What if it continue higher? Just creating a flag to go higher, right? So that's a possibility that I'm looking at. So personally, I'm not looking for sell, but I do agree there is some sort of sell formation here. And if this fits your plan, if that fits your management, and I think it's fine if you're looking for a sell. Just understand the risk here, right? I point out the potential drawdown of this, right? Because this can be a bullish correction, right? This move down here, creating kind of an expanding structure, and then reverse back up and continue this bullish move. That's a probability, right? So just understand that. Cat Swiss. Not really see much on Cat Swiss personally. Like I don't really see much developing here. Like I'm not sure how you guys are seeing this. Like I'm not finding a structure here. At least like maybe this is the structure you're looking at. But I'm not really seeing much here. This looks kind of like Cat Yen here. If you look at Cat Yen, right? This looks like the Cat Yen structure and then Cat Yen reversal. I'm having a hard time really trying to find what's going on here. Like this push down here, if we go to the lower time frame, is there consolidation? If there consolidation, this could lead to a potential downside. So if that really something that you're looking for to look at, then that is something that you can look at, right? But I personally is not very favor something like this. Again, I think this is just another filtering process that I talk about in my videos, right, guys? It's just that I get these questions a lot where people are like, why are you not entering this? Why are you not entering this? Why didn't you do that? Where's my filtering videos? Where is it? Yeah, how to filter opportunities if multiple setups. Watch this if you're not sure what I'm talking about. It's just that there's so many pairs to trade, right? There's so many opportunities you can offer to put your money at risk, but you don't necessarily need to put in every single one of them, right? You don't really need to do that. So you don't have to. You choose the best one to take to basically get involved in and execute. I don't really see too much here at this given moment. I think there's better opportunity, like the one I talk about, Aussie Swiss, Kiwi Swiss, things like that, Aussie Kiwi, Euro Kiwi, Euro Aussie. currently the price is much cleaner, right? This is much cleaner price action than something like Cat Swiss, where it's a little bit indecisive, to me at least. So I'm just using this example, so don't take it the wrong way. I'm just mentioning as a from a analysis point of view, right? It's a little bit choppy or indecisive, so I'm not looking to enter anything at this given moment. Inverse head and shoulder, which pair, Joe? Which pair are you talking about? Are you talking about this as an inverse head and shoulder, or what? You said it doesn't fit your plan. Do you have a video about setups to fit your plan? I'm sure you watched that, right? I talk about this 3 entries in the impulsive phase of price action. These are the entries that I always take, right? What I mean is there's no clear impulse reversal followed by correction. This almost looks like a more bullish price action. Now, I do agree there is a correction here. This could be impulse downwards. It's just that it's not clear as something that we will look for, right? It's something that we will want to look for in this type of price action is after the impulse down, we follow by a correction like this. And we want to see some sort of corrected price action pushing to the upside, which is kind of the same thing we are seeing right now. But I want to see what price will do at the top. I want to see continue correction up, sharp reversal down, followed by correction to go. Right? That is what I want to see all the time. Okay, but this is not giving me that kind of outlook, right? So, and if you look at a couple other ones where it does give you that kind of price action, like say like Euro Aussie, right? So let's say same ascending channel moving up, at least there is a correction at the top where there's a sharp reversal. Whereas to me, when I look at Kiwi Cat, I didn't really see that, at least from my point of view. I didn't really see that sharp reversal and then sharp correction here. That's why I am not looking to enter this. But me not looking to enter doesn't mean this will not drop, right? Remember, guys, I'm just saying that I won't be entering. Doesn't mean that this entry is wrong, right? This entry is certainly right if you're looking for the sell. Everything else does fit the overall plan, right? Impulse it down, corrected structure, pushing up and looking for another down. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just that the setup here doesn't really fit my plan, so I'm happy to take other trades. And I'm also in other Aussie Kiwi pair at the same time, right? So I'm happy to move on. How do you get subheadings in your watch list? Very simple. Go on the watch list, right click, add section. Okay, on TradingView, one person asked me about subheading. This is exactly what you do on your watch list. Click right click, add section. This section pops up. You can rename them whatever you like, and then you can move this subsection anything you like. Okay. Euro dollar. I'm gonna go over that right after. I'll finish all the other Aussie and Kiwi pairs first, and I'll go to the dollar pairs. Kiwi CAD looks bullish. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying, right? It's like this move up here, this could still be a bullish correction, and that's why I'm more just kind of chilling. But you know, like I said, this is certainly a sell if you're looking for something like this, right? As long as you understand the potential risk. Now I'm gonna continue here. I'm a little bit behind, so I'm looking at only other Forex pairs. I think I went over most of them. I will go over Pound Swiss. We went over already. Pound Swiss, I already went over that earlier, right? Pound Swiss, I mentioned a bunch of you guys caught the sell. I think there's another sell here, but I don't think selling here is good. You want to wait for another consolidation here to push down the price. Now let's talk about a few dollar pairs now. Dollar ZAR, someone asked that on TradingView. Apologize, finally get to dollar ZAR here. What do I think about dollar ZAR? Yeah, I mean, originally it was pushing up quite a bit, right? Some of you guys got in on the buy here or maybe the buy here. Not sure if you're still in the trade or not. But we did talk about the potential head and shoulder as well, right? And this is kind of where the price is basically at. So you want to be careful here. While we did see this bullish up move, and I'm sure some of you guys caught these buy move here. Um, what's going down here? Well, it's a little bit consolidating now, right? It's not the same as the bullish price action that we have seen. It's not showing us the bullish correction because basically what's showing here is a push up here and it start reversing now. So what it's likely to happen? Well, if this reverse back to here and then form a correction like this, then I do think downside is more likely because it basically forms a head and shoulder pattern at the top of the current bullish price action. So that's a sign from the market that it could likely to reverse, right? The bullish move has happened, right? If some of you guys caught the bullish move, but if this is going to be a turning point or a reversal point, then aim to take profit and move on, right? That's usually what's going to happen. Now, that's what I think about those dollars are. Let's talk about euro dollar now. Now, I think my bias here on euro dollar is going to be a little bit looking for possible long. Now, we remember all the long trade that we caught here, right? A bunch of us caught this dollar long position to the upside, and then price basically hit this double top and then start reversing back down, right? Price impulse down, correct, and continue downwards. But we're basically at this low here already. It depends on what the price will do in this area. Now, we don't know what it's going to do, right? It can easily just kind of consolidate here a little bit longer to push down. But I'm really not interested in looking for sell. I'm more interested to look for long because we're basically right back up to this bottom again. And this is part about price action that we just talked about, right? Evolving the structure. If this is going to be another structure that we're going to see, then evolving the structure is fine. Right, we can see a potential bigger structure in the making. Whether or not it start correcting here to go higher, or maybe another move down slowly or correctively, and then reverse up and then continue, because we could possibly still in this descending structure, and then from a higher time frame point of view, the bias here is still potential long. Right, it's just that it's taking quite a bit of time to complete this descending channel at the bottom. But very possible that we just expanded of this last correction that we're currently in, and then potentially finding bottom here and then start reversing back up in the next week time or so. Okay, so understand this is why we evolve the structure, right? If you're not really familiar with that term or something, watch this video that I make on the workshop. Evolving structures and patterns, and other workshop video. These are basically hours and hours where I explain all these in details if you're interested to learn. But this is kind of what I see on dollar, and as you can see, I really don't have any other dollar pair on watch because I don't have any entries that I see currently. I'm just more on the sideline once again. I don't really need to enter any of them, right? So I'm happy to just kind of observe a little bit to see what the dollar pairs will do after the FOMC meeting. Same thing with the yen pairs as well. All right. Inverse head and shoulder on euro dollar. Yeah, possible, right? I think this is what you're saying. Yeah, it's very possible, right? So, and again, I like the higher time frame, right? The higher time frame to me is looking more bullish, right? So I like how this descending channel here basically could evolve into a descending structure, but basically telling you that every time when you see these kind of structures at the bottom of a larger structure and then combining with a double bottom, right? So many confluence factor to possibly looking for the next buy move, right? Remember when we caught the original buy move, it breaks up the descending structure, but there was no continuation to go higher, and that's really a sign from the market that we hit a kind of a short-term, lower time frame double top, and price started reversing back down. But it doesn't mean that the bullish momentum or the bullish price action is finished. All we're seeing is just a larger structure, right? And potentially upside is still possible. Euro pound. Let's take a look at Euro pound really quick. I don't really see much on Euro pound personally. I know some of you guys were looking for a sell after this push down, and I wasn't too interested in the sell. I really didn't see the sell. I didn't really see a price here. Looks like it's continue pushing up. Like this is a pushing to the high here now. Now my bias here is still potential sell, right? Like I do see this higher time frame as a impulsive move to the downside. Even if this continue pushing up, like to this top here, I think this top is going to be quite respected because this could be a structure on its own. And basically this heading to the top here, whether or not we break out of this kind of descending structure here, and even if it form continuation up here, I'm not sure how far this can go, judging by what's happening here, judging by what is this bearish push down, if this is going to be a corrective structure to continue lower, right? And that's really why I am not too favor Euro pound. I don't see too much here. Even if it forms a correction, it's not something that I am interested to enter. All right. That's Euro pound. I'm gonna go over last two. I'm gonna go over gold, guys. It's almost an hour on Forex. I need to move up the speed here. Dollar peso. Yeah, dollar peso here. Looks like there's a bullish push up. Is this going to be a continuation to go higher? I think we talked about this on Monday. While I do think there is a bullish push up, I think on Monday we talked about that this overall structure looks more as a bearish continuation, right? So how high will this go? Not too sure. And will this even reach the high here? Not too sure either, right? Sometimes it just push up here and then start pushing down, just forming kind of a M style pattern or something, and then just push down lower. I think the bias here is still a potential sell, right? We have an impulse up, we have a reversal impulse down. This looks like a larger continuation price action to go lower. It kind of forms like it's like oddly shaped head and shoulder pattern, and it's not at the top of the structure, it's at the bottom of the structure, but this something like this can still be a correction to correct the previous down move, right? So a correction down here followed by another correction and then continue downwards. That's a possibility as well, right? So I'm not too interested in the buy. I'm sure there is buy setups here, right? Impulse correction certainly is probable to push up the price, but I'm seeing it from this point of view and even higher time frame point of view, then I don't like the buy here. Pound Singapore dollar, that's an exotic pairs I really don't look at, but let me just take a look at it quickly. This looks pretty much like pound dollar, right? If I'm not mistaken, right? This looks like a pound dollar position. So if we look at pound dollar, it is basically the same here, right? So I think my bias here is the same. It all depends on what here on the lower time frame will do, or this price action here, this latest bit right here. Is this the correction that we're seeing, or are we going to see it more like this to push down and then correct to go lower? If I look closely here, it looks like there is some setup here. Like if this is the structure you draw, I'm not sure. Looks like it is pushing down here. Now it depends on if you're in the trade already. I think this would be a sell, but is there enough risk reward here down to the low? Is there a 3-to-1 that you can fit in here? Again, I'm not too sure, but I think the bias here is can be looking for a sell, but how far can it go? What if it hit the bottom here and then start reversing, just like pound dollar that we talk about, right? I think pound dollar, even though there's some bearish price action here, but what if it hits this low and then just start reversing back up again, right? That's a possibility, right? This is the structure that is forming currently, and basically we created this down move here. We form into kind of a expanding structure, but we're not breaking this low. I think this is the key here, is unless price breaks this low and continue, then I agree most of them will start dropping more. But if it start forming bullish reversal here to go upside, then this is kind of a reversal structure to correct this move, and we're still in this higher time frame structure that could potentially lead to a up move. So if you look at pound Singapore dollar, it could easily just kind of create another structure on its own. So this move pushing to the downside and then doesn't break this low and then reverse back up and continue. Okay, so that is what I see on pound Singapore dollar. I'm not too interested in them. Alright, so let's continue here. I think I answered all the Forex pairs. Alright, so any other question, guys? Any other question? Let's move on. It's been an hour already, but we can come back here after I answer some questions at the end. We'll have Q&A. But let's go to commodities now. I think there's a lot of questions asking me about commodities, especially gold. What about gold? Well, I kind of looking at this, and I talk about this on Monday, is that after a sharp move like this, guys, there's likely to be consolidation. Okay, just like after a sharp move like this, we had consolidation, and then I think there was a bunch of you guys caught this sell here that we talk about in our group, or in I update everyone in my analysis or in my market outlook. I talk about a potential sell. I personally didn't get in on the sell, but I saw a bunch of you guys going on the sell, so very, very good. Again, follow your plan, right? Because I didn't get in on the sell, right? So if you were to follow me, then you would have missed this sell. But we talk about the sell, we talk about the analysis, right? So always have your plan, and you'll be able to start seeing the market a little bit better, and you're going to build confidence in yourself to execute positions on your own. Now, what do I see here on gold? Well, it looks like there is some lower time frame push up, right? If you look closely here, it looks like this is a bullish kind of correction, right? So be careful here, right? Once price break this high here, whoever is selling here, you should probably take profit or whatever, or at least you know that you're not going to lose any more money. It really depends on what's going to happen here. Is this going to continue pushing all the way up to the top, or are we going to get a more sideways consolidation like this, a little bit more ascending like, right? Something like this that we're used to see, and then eventually still coming down. Now I think it's a little bit too early to kind of just be like buy or sell. So some of you guys talk about gold buy, some of you guys talk about gold sell. I'm fairly neutral. I do agree lower time frame, if we get a correction, a sell is probable and is likely, but there is no setup here right now, right? There is no entry, there is no setup. I'm not looking to enter, buy or sell. I'm just happy to watch this development here a little bit longer. I really don't see, and I don't even see buying here makes sense, to be honest, unless we form into a bigger consolidation. Or something even as big as something like this, if we get a correction like a little bit bigger to push up. Other than that, I'm not looking to buy or sell, guys. It's not much development here, right? Like if you want to be buying here, understand the risk here, right? This is just a lower time frame, potential bullish kind of price action. How far would this go? What if it just hit up here and then push down and then reverse back down again, right? That's a possibility. So that's not really enough of a confluence for me personally to look for a buy. Okay, so as your account continue to grow, guys, as your trading account size continue to grow, the less and less trades that you're going to take, because you don't want mediocre trades to eat up your profits. I always talk about this many, many times, right? Keep your risk small, keep your reward big, and eliminate the number of trades that you take in a month, right? Cut down that. The less trade you take, actually the more profit you make. Okay, so if you don't see that, then really think about it. The less trades you take, that means that you eliminate a bunch of mediocre trades. You only focus on better trades, higher probability trades. So your winning trades are not eaten up by the losing trades, right? The more losing trades you have, all your profit, your winnings are going to go cover that, right? But the less mediocre trades you take, your profit is only going to cover a little bit of the losses, and you'll continue to create profit every month, right? That's how trading is. All right, so that is gold. How do I identify we need a bigger consolidation? My friend, just experience, right? You need to backtest to do that, right? It's not a guesswork or anything. It's just from experience, right? You look at the chart years after years, you understand that a correction needs to form for another impulse to happen. Correction needs to form for another impulse to happen. Correction needs to form for another impulse to happen. That is how the market moves, right? So if you're not too familiar with that, right, just you have to put in a little bit more time on your own to backtest, right? Whatever strategy you're trading, whatever style you're trading, you need to backtest that, right? You need to continuously look at the market, continuously go back, right, finding out what's going on in the market, because you're trying to shape your brain to recognize what's going on here more and more and more, right? You're going to see them more and more and more often, right? So after a correction, what happens? Impulse. Well, after a correction, what happens? Impulse. What happened in a correction? Impulse. What happened after a correction? Impulse, right? So the more you see like this, the more you're going to be comfortable at analyzing the market and looking at the market. There's no easy way, right? You don't learn from someone that you buy a course from and instantaneously you become a master trader. You don't, right? So that was gold, guys. I want to talk about natural gas really quick because someone asked me about natural gas, and I think this is what's going on here. Is that after this impulsive break, I always talk about, well, breaking the trend line means nothing. We need to see consolidation here to prove that we're going to get another upside. But looking here on the lower time frame, we're not really getting that. It looks like this is more looking like a head and shoulder pattern, and then looks like we're continue dropping down now. Right, so that's something to be aware of because it looks like we break up of that higher time frame structure, but if this is going to reverse right back down, then we're not seeing that bullish price action that I talked about maybe 2 weeks ago or so. What we want is consolidation, but maybe it's too early to right away point out this isn't going to build up into a consolidation. But I don't really like what's going on here. We basically had a push up here and then reversal down, and then it looks like it's this correction coming down afterwards. So not really looking to buy or sell at this moment, but I would prefer we build up that consolidation we're talking about so that it's the higher time frame buyers that are looking for a buy. If this doesn't happen, if this just going to continue start dropping down, even drop right back into that structure that we see on the higher time frame, then I don't think the buy or the long bias makes sense anymore. You could probably start looking for sell bias once that happens. So that's natural gas. We went over about gold. Is there any commodities is there any other commodities you guys want me to go over before we jump into the indices? You're welcome, buddy. Hope that explains gold. I mean, of course, there is, everyone trades different strategy, right? There's maybe support, maybe it's resistance, or, whatever other factors that people look at. I personally just look at straight from a price action point of view. So, I do see the lower time frame development here, right? Like lower time frame development here, and versus the higher time frame development here, right? So a little bit more conflicting, right? So. Yes, oil. Sorry, I forgot to go over that. I appreciate very, very patient with me. Sorry that it took an hour to get to this, but yes, let's talk about oil. I'll talk about oil like WTI and UK oil, but they're basically the same thing, right? So I'll talk about oil here. Now, I haven't kind of really go over oil for a while. I remember when oil was somewhere around here and someone was asking me about potential sell. I told them that I didn't really see this as a potential selling opportunity. This almost looked like an inverse head and shoulder to go higher. It looks like we did continue higher here. Now, I'm not sure what you guys' bias are. If you can, whoever just tell me oil, if you tell me your bias of oil, if you're looking for long or looking for short, I can take a look at what bias you're looking at. So right after commodities, we'll take a look at indices. So I will go over the other two the indices that we were looking at before. Yeah, so I see some of you guys have a little bit conflicting data, a conflicting bias. That's fine, right? This is all a part of the learning curve, right? So some of you guys are saying buy, some of you guys are saying sell. Um, I'm honestly looking at this. I'm more leaning towards this is what's going on here, okay? But now there is no right away a confirmation yet to me. To me, if I'm looking for a sell, okay, I'll explain kind of if I'm looking for a sell bias. I think this looks like it's building up some sort of corrective price action. So only when the price drops out of it and then correction after, I think could be a sell down to this low or possible this low. Okay, so potential sell bias here if and only this happens. Okay, now someone's talking about buy. I don't. I want to say the buy bias is probably something like this, where you see a structure like this, you push up, and this looks like a potential bullish bias, and this is breaking out now, and there is like a small correction here. We're pushing to the upside, and then potentially another buy here. Okay, so I'm kind of explaining both bias here because I personally really don't have a right away bias to be buying and selling. I think both bias is okay, right? There is a double top here. Yes, I do agree with that, right? I saw this double top as well. So a double top followed by a push down and then followed by this kind of ascending structure looks like it could be a possible sell. But I also kind of talk about the potential buy opportunity here as well, right? We push up and then correct here and then smaller correction here in the middle. I guess the only down thing I would say about a potential buy bias is that you're basically might trade right back to this double top. Is it going to break the double top here and continue, or is it going to just kind of hit the double top and then start falling again, right? So they just be careful on something like this. I personally, you see how I'm personally a little bit more neutral. I can see both possibility, and that's why I don't even draw in the structure here, because I can argue kind of both way, and I'm happy to just be on the sideline once again. I don't need to enter anything like this. I don't see any setup immediately that allow me to risk money in, so I'm happy to wait a little bit longer. All right, so that's how I see on oil. I hope that's the same with UK oil, US oil. It's going to be the same, right? It's not going to be too much difference in terms of price, right? So same idea here, right? Same buy bias here to go higher, or you can see this as a sell bias here with the higher time frame double top here as well. Okay. Yeah, I apologize, my friend. I know you waited for an hour for me to get to this. I apologize, but I appreciate your patience with me. Okay, so let's continue here. No other commodities, right? So we can move up to the indices now. Now, let me just double check something. Someone was showing me this really quick. Thank you, buddy. Not a problem. I appreciate that. Yeah, crypto, I'm going to go over after the indices, guys, so just bear with me. So I'm going to quickly go over the indices, all the three major indices here. So US 30, so Dow Jones, right? Now, remember, after I was in NASDAQ, right? I was in this NASDAQ sell. Was able to get out of here after the price basically reversed back up. Got out somewhere around here for, I think, 2%, 2 to 1 risk reward. Happy with the result because I actually took two previous losses, right? Remember I update from the previous recap video. I actually took a loss here and I took another loss here. So basically this 2-to-1 position covered my two initial losses. So I am break even on the 3 trades. So I'm happy with the result. But what I see here on most of the indices is that because I was looking at this here, I was looking at to see if we're going to continue all the way down to here first. It looks like we're consolidating here. That's fine, right? Because what we could possibly get here is a top head and shoulder pattern here to go lower, right? So this right side here is important, is it? Because we don't want this to start reversing back up like what we have seen many times, right? Every time when we see these cells, they tend to reverse up after they hit the bottom of the structure. We don't want to see that, at least this time, at least like if we can consolidate here a little bit longer. I think that would be awesome to see because we can get a head and shoulder here and then looking for another sell down to the bottom here. Okay, so that's kind of my bias here on the indices. Like I'm not looking to buy or sell right away. I think after such a sharp move, right, this is quite a bit of sharp move to the downside. Again, price needs to correct. That's just how market moves, right? We need to have a consolidation. We need to correct here if this is going to move up or consolidate a little bit more. And then looking for a sell, I think that's a better entry. Judging by what the price is doing right now though, I think a bigger consolidation is needed, or at least something like this, right? Or something that's a little bit more developed, right? This is, right now it doesn't look like it's enough to start selling. Now maybe this can all change on the FOMC meeting, maybe during 18 o'clock GMT. We could potentially see something happen, I'm not sure, right? But as of now, I'm not really looking to sell or buy. This is pretty much the same thing with the other two indices. I like there's consolidation. This is exactly what I want to see. Right? We talk about these every time. You see how all these previous down move that the market has done, we didn't really get a consolidation here. We didn't really get a consolidation. We didn't really get a consolidation. Right? All three of these area where price dropped down really didn't continue downwards, right? We didn't really get consolidation here. What we want is to see consolidation because we know consolidation leads to another impulsive move. And judging by what's going on a higher time frame, watching what's going on the lower time frame, there's just a better probability of looking for sells if a correction form, if a consolidation form, and if a bearish continuation form. Okay, is that clear, guys? Is that clear on the indices? Yep. Okay, so that is S&P 500. Okay, so I do see a lot of potential on these indices for the days and weeks to come. So those of you who can trace CFD, contract for difference, we're basically could be getting another market correction, and I think there is a lot of opportunity here in the near future, right? We did see that happen. Now let's talk about Dow Jones, because Dow Jones dropped the most, right? I think Dow Jones dropped the most. Now if we look at what's going on here, we did break this previous low, right? I talk about this low is super important because we want to see the low being broken and then continue downside, because that shows you that this correction is complete and another downside is very possible, right? So we did see the price break this low, so that's very good to see. Now we want to see is another consolidation here, right? Another consolidation here can easily lead to another downside push, and this is kind of what we want to see, is we want to see consolidation. So this is the part where we need to be patient now, right? So in the morning when I saw someone, in the morning before I stream, I was looking at other trading view people looking at streams. And I think he like entered the sell here or whatever, and then basically it reversed back. I'll probably hit their stop loss. But my point here is after such a sharp move, price needs to correct. It's just in the nature of the market. There's no other words to describe it. It just means that the market needs to correct. It just doesn't drop in a straight line, right? We're not in like coronavirus time where it's something like this can happen. And even in coronavirus time, the market just doesn't drop in a straight line on a lower time frame. It's gonna drop, correct, drop, correct, drop, correct, right? It's not gonna drop in a straight line, Okay, so same idea here. If we look at Nasdaq currently, right after the sharp move, great. Let's wait for consolidation because the consolidation will give you the confirmation of selling. If the consolidation doesn't form, if it does start reversing, then you didn't lose any money, right? There's no entry, you didn't set any order, the order didn't get triggered, then you didn't lose any money as the price continued to reverse up. That's the beauty about not taking market orders, right? Don't take market orders because market orders are just emotional orders, right? You're just kind of like, okay, well, I think this correction is finished now. I'm just going to be selling here because I want to get maximum risk reward. But what if this just continue to push high? You just took a loss right away, right? So always understand why we don't take market orders, right? The market orders is a more just on your emotion and your quick decision where if you wait for a price to develop, you set your entry order. If the price doesn't trigger you, then no entry, right? You didn't lose any money because if the price reverses, then you not only you save your 1% here, you didn't get enter, you didn't get emotional because you lose the trade, right? So a combination of these are going to help you to be more consistent in the long run. All right. So those are the three indices, guys. Any question here? I think they're pretty clear on kind of my plan or my bias here. Right? My bias here is looking for sell, but only when we finish this consolidation. We don't know how long or how deep this correction can go, but basically all three indices are doing the exact same thing, right? And all three indices basically push down as expected. So I think there is further opportunity later down the road as well. Just depends on how we're going to potentially capture them. All right. Echo. My sound is echoing. I apologize. I'm just trying to see what I can do. Is my sound echoing, guys, on TradingView or just on YouTube? Can you guys just check with me if you don't mind? Is my sound echoing on TradingView or just YouTube only? If you guys don't mind letting me know, thank you. Your perspective is so nice and simple. Each time I improve my analysis by watching your stuff. Big thanks. Hey, you're welcome, buddy. It's okay here on TradingView. Okay, thank you. So is YouTube echoing? Can you guys check with me if you don't mind? Yeah, it's okay. That's okay. No, it was YouTube on YouTube only. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. If you guys like hear the echo or something, just throw it out to me. Let me know because I'm just trying to improve the quality of the stream, right? I'm trying to improve as much as I can, and I appreciate you guys letting me know because I'm just trying to improve. I'm gonna continue find ways to improve the quality. Like I said, I'm streaming from a third party thing, a third party, what do you call this, OBS, right? I'm streaming on a third party streaming thing. Maybe that cause things to echo. I'll check with the audio things after I finish. I'm glad someone sent me some videos to look at. Yeah, I'm not an expert when it comes to these things, so I will continue to work on that. So I appreciate you guys are very patient with it. All right, so can we go down to crypto now? I'm gonna quickly touch over crypto a little bit, just kind of go over what's going on in crypto as well. All right, I want to quickly go over crypto, and then I will have some time for Q&A, guys. So I really don't have too much on crypto, guys. I think there was a general feedback was the market is still kind of correcting or still in a kind of a bearish market, at least for on lower time frame. Now, I didn't really have too much on my watch, to be honest. I can quickly go through any pairs you guys want me to go look at, but I'm looking at this previous low. I'm looking at, is this going to form into something here on Bitcoin? Now we have this kind of ascending structure followed by a continuation, right? Now, is this going to be forming into another consolidation to push lower, or are we going to start seeing potential reversal? I think, again, it's too early to tell. Okay, why I say this is because I don't think whatever is going to develop here is finished yet. I don't think there is confirmation for you to be buying or selling right away. I think it's best to wait a little bit longer to see a little bit more development, right? You don't want to get trapped in the consolidation phase, right? As I always say, traders lose money when they're entering in the consolidation phase. That's usually what happens is they're a little bit too rushed. They're a little bit eager to enter trades where in the consolidation. But once the consolidation finishes, the impulse move happens, right? That's where we want to enter trades because the market is going to move in higher volatility. It means the market is going to move fast and faster momentum. When the price is in the consolidation, you don't want to be entering here because it can go on indefinitely and it can just move up and move down, move out for a while and just either taking you off for an entry or making your emotion rise high because you're seeing profit come, profit go. So that's why I always suggest don't enter when it's in the consolidation phase. Enter when the market finish correcting, and that will give you a better understanding of whether or not we're going to get impulsive move to the downside or we're going to form into a reversal correction to reverse up. All right. So I'm kind of scanning through the crypto market right now. Not seeing anything that right away catch my attention. Like I said, if you have any pair you want me to quickly go over, I can quickly take a look. But I don't see too much going on here. So I was looking at Solana here. I thought there could be a potential entry here for the upside after we kind of impulse up, followed by this correction to go higher. But it didn't really form a continuation lower time frame correction for me to enter. But what is happening here is, to me, we're just forming a bigger correction, right? That's always kind of how I say this, is that we're basically just forming a bigger correction. And if this continuation completes, right? If this continuation completes and we break out and then followed by another correction, I think another upside to the top is very likely. Okay, so remember, this is why we talk about evolving the structure. What was once looking like this, right? This is just for educational learning purposes. What was once looking pretty clear, right? We have this clear impulse up, clear correction. We push up again. If it forms a correction here, I would look for a buy here to the top. But it didn't. It basically just moved down here. But what is that telling you? All it is that you're adjusting the structure because it's just creating a bigger structure, creating more swing highs and low, but from a price point of view, nothing changes because the previous impulse is still there, the correctional structure, the corrective phase is still there. All it is just creating a larger structure. That is all, right? The only difference is that we're just having a larger structure. It gives you a better probability now because the longer, the deeper of this correction goes, the better it is that it's going to correct this previous bullish move, right? Again, that's just how the market moves, guys. If if it's hard to picture this, just look at what has happened many times before, right? I'm just using this, but every market, any time frame, it's the same. Impulsive move, corrective structure, impulsive move, corrective structure, impulsive move, what happens next, corrective structure, and look for the next impulsive move, right? Any market, any time frame, guys, right? So putting a little bit more time on your own, putting a little time to do chart work is really going to help you to basically see the market the way I do, or any other consistent trader out there, because that's what we do, right? We continue to backtest, we continue to do chart work. You're going to see these kind of things over and over again, and the more you see that has happened in the past, the more confidence you're going to get when you're trying to enter the positions now at the current price action. Okay? Yeah, .USD, I apologize. You told me this probably in the beginning as well, right? Or someone else, but yeah, I can take a look at .USD. What do I see here? So this is what I see here. We had that initial crypto drop during May or June, right? We fall into this kind of a falling wedge kind of structure. So we know that falling wedge is a reversal price action. So we push to the upside. Now, this part is a little bit throwing me off because there is no structures here, or I'm failed to identify any corrective price action, whether this is going to go up or this is going to go down. It's not quite clear here. So I'm happy to just kind of be waiting here. I'm not really seeing much development, at least from my point of view. I mean, if someone could potentially draw it like this, but I don't think that's really a structure. I think it's just a little bit indecisive here. I want to see price to continue go higher, but I'm not getting a bullish price action or bullish correction in this area yet. So I'm happy to just wait a little bit longer. Can I look at Luna? Yep. Luna. Originally, I had a very good bullish bias on Luna, right? We have this impulsive move. This looks like to me a correction and then push up. I was actually looking at this to see if this is going to be a bullish correction here that potentially you can get in on an entry, right? Correction after breakout. It didn't happen. It kind of just pushed down here, and I don't really see the bullish point of view at this moment. When I saw this kind of continue push down here, basically form some mini lower time frame correction, I didn't really like that. But it looks like a lot of crypto are forming these kind of potential reversals, right? If you look at all these cryptos are kind of forming that little bit of a bullish kind of price action here. It's too early to tell, of course, but it looks like it is potential turning point for price, maybe, right? This could be something like this, and then push up higher to go. But I was liking it much better when it was around this area. Now, certainly bullish upside is more of the bias here, right? We push up quite a bit already, unless we see price break this low, or possibly fall into a bigger consolidation like this, maybe develops into like a right shoulder here and drop, right? Something like this, head and shoulder pattern. Unless this happens to push down, then as from now, I think the bullish view is still stands. It's just kind of matter of what the price will do at this given area. Is it going to form into a bearish continuation price action, or is it going to form into a bullish reversal price to go higher? To me personally, I think the the bullish move is quite strong. So while we have these kind of push down, but like I said, if it doesn't break this low, I'm more leaning towards a bullish point of view. Euro pound, I already went over that. I'm gonna go over that after. But any other crypto, guys, before I go into some quick Q&A? I think that's all for me in crypto. I don't really see much in crypto. I think a better waiting for a bullish kind of price action, right? As you guys know, I don't like to sell crypto. I don't like to short crypto. It's just me preferentially. So a lot of these sells, I'm really not interested. I'm only interested in buy. I'm only interested in going long on crypto. Solana is probably one of that I'll be looking at. Maybe if this does break above here and then continuation, then I will be looking for this buy. I think this buy makes sense. Other than that, I don't really see any other buy opportunities as of now. I think Solana was quite strong and they're good bullish price action. I don't really see anything else that really captured my attention right away, right off the bat. Okay. When I say chart work, backtesting is certainly one of them. What you can do more is continuously look at charts, right? What I mean is you start looking at the higher time frame. There's a bunch of videos I do that's on backtesting. You can take a look to see if this style of backtesting works for you. This is all on my YouTube. When I mean chart work, it means backtesting is one of them, and continue join the trend lines, identifying what price is at. Do we see impulsive move? Do we see corrective phase? What we're trying to do here is to continuously go with the market flow, right? So what you can do is you can take a chart that you don't have too much on, right? You kind of just look at what has already happened and what has not happened, and you kind of look at, well, when this down move happened, was there anything that captured your attention right away? Because we know that this is a impulsive move. Was there any correction in the middle? Well, yeah, I can start identifying corrections, correction here, correction here, correction here. Why are we doing this? Well, we need to understand how the market moves, right? The more you do this, you kind of see that, okay, well, the market moves in only phases, right? It can only move in impulsive phase, it can only move in corrective phase. So the more corrective phase you identifying, then you know that after the corrective phase, the impulsive phase happens, right? That's just how the market moves. So the more corrective phase you identify, the more confidence in your ability to identify the next impulsive phase. Right? So sometimes this is hard for people to learn or adjust because everyone probably learned in a different trading method. They might learn some support resistance, they might learn some EMAs, indicators, they might learn Elliott wave or order blocks or whatever, supply demand. I never talk anything bad about other strategy and style. I think they all work fine. It's up to the person themselves and their perspective. But when you have all those things into place, it sometimes confuses you to capture the impulsive phase because there is always some sort of support resistance that cuts through what you want to trade, right? The impulsive move will always trade through some sort of support resistance. That's just what happens. So if you have these lines in there, it's going to restrict you from entering positions because you're always afraid to trade through them. Right, so eliminate those lines, right? Keep your chart as clean as possible. Identifying the impulsive phase, identifying them so that you can identify the corrective phase as well, right? Identifying the impulsive phase, identifying the corrective phase, so you can identify the impulsive phase once again. Okay, so any question, guys? Any quick questions or Q&A that I can do with you guys? Feel free to let me know some questions that you may have. I can happy to answer. Did I saw Euro Pound earlier? I went over Euro Pound. I was saying that I'm not too interested. I don't really see much development here. Even if it forms a bullish correction here, I'm not too interested because I still see this as a larger structure to correct this bearish move. So whether or not we get enough 3-to-1 here to go higher to the high, if that fits your plan or not, that personally doesn't fit my plan. So I'm happy to just not get involved in something like this. Apple, right? We talked about Apple, I think, a few times last week as well. I think it all depends on if we get a consolidation here. It might be a little bit risky to enter here, or you can enter when the price breaks out here and go lower, right? But I think the ascending structure looks clean. There's ascending structure, there's a lower time frame ascending structure. So a lot of confluence here, yes, but depends on what the price will give you here. Is it going to consolidate here to go down, and then another consolidate to go down, right? But personally, if I was going to short this, I don't like to short stocks, just like I don't like to short crypto. But if I was to look for short, I think this is where you would look to enter, or I would enter. Sorry, I would enter if it does drop down here and then correct to go lower. What other ones I can go over? I don't have too much else to go over. Nike is doing well. I Tesla. Sorry, Tesla. Okay, so yeah, slowly moving up, right? So we'll see how that goes. You're welcome, guys. I'm happy to answer some Q&A. If you have any Q&A, you're welcome to let me know. Kiwi long, Kiwi dollar long. Yeah, I mean, this is the higher time frame, right? We kind of talk about. I think it was on Monday we talk about if this is going to reverse down, if this correction continue, then we might see more of a bearish kind of price action. But if it doesn't continue, right? If it just kind of consolidate here longer and then push up, then certainly on a higher time frame we're seeing it more like this, right? The higher time frame looks more like this is a descending structure. After the COVID drop, we recover, and we form into a potential bullish kind of continuation correction. Now we did have some push down from the price, but this can just easily be a pullback here and then potentially continue higher. Now it all depends on what is going to happen in this area of the lower time frame, right? So if we look at the lower time frame here, we had this correction that I was originally looking at to see if this was going to kind of break up and then continue after. Then that's something that we could potentially get involved in. But it did not. I kind of just pushed down, correct, and push down again. So it really depends on what's going to happen in this area, right? So it's a little bit choppy. It's a little bit indecisive. So I think it's best to kind of wait and see what it will do here. Now, if this continue push up higher, then that's good because now we're getting a little bit more bullish momentum, and potentially the structure can evolve into a little bit something like this and then push up higher. And basically all that's showing us it's similar like Kiwi Swiss here, where we did form a larger correction and we pushed to the upside. If this does not become a bearish continuum to go lower, then a push up here sufficiently enough can create something like this and then continue higher afterwards. So again, patient, right? This is why I emphasize patient, is because you don't need to guess, right? We don't need to guess, right? We'll just wait for the market to come to you, right? If you have a long bias, then wait for the market to at least get out of this consolidation, push up, correct here, and if you find with entering here before this correction open, then enter accordingly. Or you feel much safer if it breaks off after correct, then look for this entry here, right? All right. Any other question, guys? Any other pair? Small position pair like dollar R's. What's that? Like I don't really take exotic pairs, if that makes sense. And I don't even think my trader like. Is this even the right chart I'm looking at? Like this doesn't look right, or I don't know. Like, is this really what's happening right now on this currency or what? Because I can't picture that. I don't really trade anything exotic like this, and I don't even think my broker offers something like this to trade. Right? Not, I don't think every broker offer every currency to trade, right? So I can't really see much going on here. So sick inflation. Well, maybe that's why the more inflation, the more it will drop, right? The currency gets weaker, right? So maybe that's why. So now what was that? It's Argentina pesos. Someone else on TradingView was asking me about it. Dollar MNT, like I don't even know what that is, to be honest. same idea, right? Like, I don't know how we can trade this. Like, there's not too much price action here. Probably because of the spread, probably because of something, I don't really know. But if you type in here, I don't know what, if you have a broker that offer you to trade this, that'd be quite amazing actually, because I've been through a lot of different Forex brokers. I've never seen this currency, I've never seen that Argentina currency. I have seen some exotic currencies, right? Like some European currencies, but I rarely see anything other than the typical ones that we're going to see. If you look at my watch list for dollar, even dollar Singapore dollar or dollar ZAR is kind of considered exotic, or anything outside that, right? It's kind of exotic. The main currency is always going to be the main eight currencies, right? Dollar, yen, euro, pound, Aussie, CAD, and Kiwi, right? Those are the eight major currencies. And Swiss, sorry, I forgot Swiss. Those are the eight major currencies, and those are the ones that you should primarily focus on, because they're usually going to give you the lowest spread among the brokers, and they're less volatile to some, some during rollover time or market or volatility time, where if you trade those exotic pairs, typically the spread will be big, and typically when some major news or market news or something happens, the spread will be crazy, right? You don't want to get tagged out in those kind of situation. So think about that. Focus on the eight major pairs, right? Those are the most traded currencies, right? Euro, dollar is the most traded currency, right? So focus on those ones rather than focus on a bunch of other ones that may not be the best suitable for you, right? So, but that's my that's my view, of course, right? If you want to trade those, of course, go ahead, right? If that's what you want. So. All right. So, any other question before I wrap it up? I think there's not much question I'm getting from you guys, so I hope that I answer all the questions. If is there any pairs you want me to go over last minute as well? I'm happy to go over anything, but pretty sure I went over all the pairs that was listed here, and very happy to see more of you guys are on the streams. I think YouTube at one point I saw 60 live people, so that's pretty big. So very happy to see that you guys are enjoying this kind of streams or these type of contents. I continue to do these contents. I hope you guys will enjoy these contents. I will continue to make videos again on different playlists, right? Price action, risk management, trading psychology. I am in the process of making one video where most of you guys ask me is when to move stop loss to break even, when to move stop loss to 1-to-1, etc. That's the video I am currently in the process of making. Obviously I need to write out exactly what I want to talk about, so that's going to take time. But I am in the process of making that video. Seems like the one that most of you guys are asking me to make. I have no problem making that, but do need some time to gather my thoughts, gather all the information that I want to talk about and then present it to you guys, right? So other than that, I've been getting less and less of the scammer stuff, so I hope that is helping you guys, right? So maybe all you guys are very, very happy that you guys keep telling me about the scammers. They're still around, they're still targeting people, but less and less case, because everyone knows they're scammers. I don't message you, I don't know where to offer money and things like that. Offer or give money, ask you to provide you some sort of signal or subscription. I don't do any of that. Everything here, at least in my groups, are free. So I'm glad many of you guys understand that concept. What else? Do you use always stop loss? Do I always use stop loss? I think that's 100%. You basically must use stop loss if you want to be a consistent trader, right? Now, again, this is a topic where, some traders out there will be like, no, I don't use stop loss, blah, blah, blah. Not here to fight against them, but, if you don't use stop loss, then one trade can wipe your whole account out, isn't it? Right? Have you like, I mean, we talk about the Swiss situation before, right? I always talk about the Swiss situation. So if you don't use stop loss in one day, right? In one day, how much did this drop? In one day, it dropped 1900 pips. So if you don't use your stop loss and a 1900 pips run, what's going to happen to your account, right? I think that's like no question here, right? So obviously this doesn't happen every day, but my whole point here is not using a stop loss is not going to make you a consistent trader, right? You're going to have to understand if a trade goes against you, well, you know, basically man up, take a loss here, take a 1% loss or whatever you want to risk, and you move on, right? Because you're always going to keep a good risk reward. I always talk about 3-to-1 risk reward is a minimum when I enter trades. More the better, of course, but 3-to-1 is a minimum. So I know that the minimum, like the most I can lose is 1%. The most I can gain is like 4 or 5 or even more, right? The couple trades that we took end up closing on the yen pairs, right? There's a few good ones, right? Like cat yen here, I got off for about 5-to-1, 5%. I think Swiss yen was 3.12 or something, right? So you have to keep your reward big and your risk small, right? You risk 1%, you're trying to gain more, right? If the trade does not work well and hit your stop loss, and so be it, right? Just take the loss and move on. Yeah, I can go over dollar yen. You don't have to beg me, my friend. You just tell me. Maybe I missed your message earlier. I apologize, but this is the Q&A time, right? So, you know, if you have pair you want me to go over, I'm happy to go over. Dollar yen, sure. So dollar yen's a little bit tricky. I kind of I went over this in my latest yen videos that I went over. But basically, what I'm saying here is it's a little bit tricky because what I originally thought the yen, right? I originally thought about this down move, right? The move did push down to this low here, and basically it's a little bit indecisive. I want to say like this area here, it's a little bit hard to grasp. Now you can probably think that this can be the structure now, sure. I think that's kind of what I'm seeing also, but you know, is this going to move up all the way top here or move up all the way top here? It's a little bit hard to tell, right? Judging by what's going on in the current yen pairs, because a lot of these yen pairs are basically reversing, right, or maybe forming a bigger consolidation, right? And that's why one of the reasons why I got on the yen pairs, because I'm kind of looking at where we're going to get bigger consolidation, right? Something like pound yen or something, right? We might get bigger consolidation. So I got all these yen pair position, first, right? Pound yen, maybe we're gonna get a bigger consolidation, something like this, right? My point here is dollar yen is a little bit tricky because it's not really giving you a right away price that I will want to get involved in. Like something like this is not enough for me to sell. Not enough, right? That's not enough confluence. My bias here is still potentially looking for a sell, but I would prefer the price actually come back to the top or something like in this general region where the sell will be much, much lucrative. You notice every time when the price is at the top, I'm looking for sell, right? Like when the price get to the top here, I'm looking for sell, right? Because it forms a double top. Looking for sell here is good. When the price hits to the top, looking for the sell is good. Here is not really at the top. I would prefer the price is like at the top here or something like that, and then push down. That would be better. But as of now, I don't really see a sell developing. I don't really see any entries. Let's put it this way. I don't see a sell. I don't see a buy either. I'm happy to just be on the sideline, as I always say. I don't need to right away guess what the direction may be. I'm happy to just wait a little bit longer. Okay. Sometimes the price is targeting your stop and then target the target price. I made this video, my friend, that talks about stop loss hunting. I think that's kind of what you're referring to. Do I have a video somewhere here? I think it's in the intro So intro to trading, is there stop loss hunting, how to deal with it. You can watch this video. I kind of explain everything that I think about this topic. Now, I personally don't think there is stop loss hunting at all. Okay, I think I'll explain my reason. Again, this is a bunch of other traders may see this differently. I'm not here to argue. I'll just give you my pointer on this. I don't think there's stop loss hunting at all. Maybe some shady brokers, but most brokers won't do that. It's all in that trader's head that they think there's stop loss hunting. I think stop loss hunting is just a way the traders kind of justify the fact that they took a losing trade and they want to blame the market or blame the brokers. Unfortunately, I put it this way because I honestly don't think there's such thing. If you're always constantly thinking every time you took a stop is because brokers are stop loss hunting you, then you're just giving yourself an excuse to take more losing trades, because the more losing trades you take, you're not reflecting on it, right? You're not creating journals, right? You're not creating a journal to kind of reflect back on the trades that you've taken. So you're not creating a journal that you are, reflecting on the trades that you have taken. You have to do that, right? Because you have to man up to the trades that you take a loss on, right? That's how we grow as traders. You need to create a journal. You need to write down all the losing trades and winning trades. You need to talk about why you took a loss and how it is, because that's how you improve, right? Instead of kind of right away kind of say, okay, the trade hit a stop because of stop loss hunting. I don't think that is right away the mindset that we should use. Okay, so try to think about it. If the trade goes to your stop loss, well, look at your stop loss, right? Is the stop loss enough? Did it protect your trade? Or did a trader put a very tight stop loss just to maximize their reward? Remember, a stop loss is here to protect your trade. I always measure my stop loss first before I calculate my reward. I don't calculate my reward and then adjust my stop loss. There's a difference in that. Okay? So please understand what I'm saying here. I don't go like this. I don't look at the profit first and then I be like, okay, I want a tighter stop loss because I want to maximize rewards. I don't do that, right? This is the wrong way of calculating your percentage. You should create the profit loss. You calculate your stop loss first, right? Make sure your trade is protected and then figure out how much profit you can make. Okay, so there's a difference in that, right? When did I start trading? This is my 8th year. Well, next year I'll be the 9th. Next year in January or February will be the 9th year I'm trading. So I'm 8.5 into 9 years now in trading. Huge echo, okay? Okay, how about now in terms of echo? How about now for echoes? So echoing still there. I'm looking at this right now. How about now, guys? Can you guys confirm with me now? Still echoing? Or does anyone know very familiarly with what I do here in the audio mix section? Does anyone know this audio mix right here, like what to put in there, or what to adjust if like expert in this, he can help me. Yeah, I'm gonna, well, after this stream, I'll take a look at what I can do, so I apologize on that. It was okay before, right? Okay, it was still there before. Okay. TradingView is okay, I understand that. Yeah, TradingView is okay, I appreciate that. It's just on YouTube. Most people are watching on YouTube, so I'm trying to fix that here. Anyways, we're almost up, right? We're almost wrapped up. So if you guys bear with me here, I'll finish up the stream, and next one I'll try to fix this issue. But what was I saying here? When you move your stop loss to protect some of your profit, when trade hits 1-to-1, I talk about this in my videos. When the trade hits 1-to-1 risk reward or more, so it's something like this. If it hits 3-to-1 or more, and I will move the stop loss to break even. Okay, so, but like I said, I'm in the process of making a video about moving stop loss to break even and profit. Like I said, that's gonna take some time for me to get to it, but I'm gathering all the information I want to talk about in that video. Okay. Yeah, I know it's not echoing on TradingView. I appreciate that. It's just on YouTube, so. Don't watch yourself on YouTube. Well, I'm not watching on myself, but I need to have something like this on, right? Like I need to have this playing, but it's not on, right? So. Yeah, I understand, but if I close this screen, then I close this YouTube stream, right? If I close this, and I think I close everything, so I don't want to close this box right now, right? I have to, like, leave it on, right? So. Or maybe I'm wrong. I'm not too familiar with these stuff, so if you guys are more familiar, you're welcome to let me know. I'll try everything I can do to fix it. Okay, it's two hours now, guys, so I'm gonna wrap up the stream. Okay, there's one more pair that I can go over. Dollar trade, someone asked about that. I think we went over this last Monday, right? So, like, I don't see sell on this. I only see buy, at least. I see this as a more price break above this high here if this is a continuation price action, if it pushes up. If there's lower time frame correction here to go, I think that's possible. But again, if that fits your plan to look for a enter like this, right? Personally, I don't even think I can trade this, or maybe not. I didn't really look at it. It's more exotic pairs, right? So I don't really like to trade exotic pairs. I think the spreads are usually bigger. Gold, I went over that earlier already. Pound Aussie is, I'm not go over Pound Aussie. I'm not too liking Pound Aussie. I think Euro Aussie has way better price action than Pound Aussie, and they're basically the same, right? I prefer Euro Aussie a lot more than Pound Aussie here. I don't think Pound Aussie has that good of a price action here. It's a little bit indecisive. Like, this doesn't look like a head and shoulder compared to Euro Aussie, which looks a lot cleaner in terms of price. Last one to go over Euro Dollar. I think I went over Euro Dollar again in the beginning. I'm more leaning towards waiting for this area to finish, because we talk about a bigger structure could be making here. And if this pushed down collectively to the low here, I think the upside is possible. I'm not looking to sell. I'm definitely not looking to sell here. Okay, I'm only looking to see what the price will do in this general area. If it does reverse up, followed by a bullish correction, I'm looking for a bullish point of view. I'm not looking for a sell here. Okay. Alright guys, so that is it everyone. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. I appreciate you guys bear with me on the stream, the voice, the sound. I appreciate that. I will try to take a look and see what else I can do. It was doing fine in the beginning, right? So I hope that can be the same after or the next time. But I will continue to work on that. I will continue to do a little bit more testing on this as well. So I thank you very much for you guys being very patiently with me on this. Again, I'm not an expert in these like tech stuff, so I apologize. But I will get people to look at it and things like that. Um, if you guys know anything or anything that I'm doing differently, that you know that how to fix this, let me know that as well. So I'll be really appreciate it. Alright, so I'm gonna wrap it up here guys. So I will make a recap video on the weekend. So recap video on the weekend going over all my live position. These current two positions that I am currently in, and I did close down those 3M pairs and Nasdaq, right? So 3M pair here and Nasdaq here. So I will go over these positions and the two positions that I have right now. We'll see what else is available or what else is potentially that I could enter till the end of the week. Alright. That's it everyone. So I hope everyone can be safe out there and enjoy themselves. And I shall see you guys all on Monday next week. And see you guys all next time. Alright. Thank you very much and be safe out there.